In this video, I'm going to show you how to use spine animation in Unity using Timeflow. If you're new to Spine, it's a 2D skeletal animation system that works across a ton of different platforms: games, interactive stories, cartoons, comics, even special effects. The Spine runtime for Unity is free, but if you want to create your own animations, you'll need the Spine software, which is a separate application outside of Unity and won't be covered in this video. First, we need to install the Spine runtime for Unity. Head over to the Spine Unity page, linked in the description below, and download the latest package. Once downloaded, import it into your Unity project, just as you would with any other package. Now that we've got Spine imported, let's bring in the Timeflow Spine samples so we have some examples to work with. Open the Package Manager and select Packages in Project. And then locate Timeflow Animation System Samples. Click the Samples tab, locate the Spine samples, and hit Import. Once done, check the console for any errors just to be sure. And just a heads up, if you do import the Spine samples before installing the Spine Unity package, you'll get some compile errors. But just install the Spine Unity package and it should resolve itself. Now that everything is set up, let's check out some of the example scenes. In the project view, let's open the basic setup scene and hit spacebar to preview the animation. In the Timeflow view, you'll see the spine object animating across two tracks. Tracks are basically animation layers that stack together to create the final sequence. In this case, one track handles the main animation and the other controls blinking. If you select a keyframe, you'll see a drop-down where you can pick different animations. These options come from the Spine skeleton data, which was created in the Spine software. When you import Spine assets into Unity, Timeflow lets you sequence those animations by keyframing them. Let's open Spine Boy Demo. Here we have two Spine Boy characters, each with their own animation tracks. They're using channel links, which allow one character to copy the other's animation with a time offset. Just like before, if we select a keyframe, we can now switch animations. For example, instead of run, we can change it to walk. I won't go through every sample scene here, but just so you know, you can layer complex animations using multiple tracks. Physics can be combined with spine animations, and spine animations can also be used as UI elements. Let's start a new scene and go through the setup step by step. Let's open a basic built-in scene in Unity. Before we go further, let's adjust the camera settings, adjusting the camera position a bit, and setting a solid background color. In the project view, go to the Spine Examples folder, find a skeleton data asset like Spine Boy Pro, and drag it into the hierarchy. Unity will ask you what type of spine object you want to create. There's skeleton animation, this is the standard type and what we'll use. There's skeleton graphic, this is for UI elements, and skeleton mechanism, which is for Unity's mechanism system, which isn't supported by Timeflow. Again, for this tutorial, we'll select skeleton animation. Select your spine object and hit the animate button, or use the shortcut Alt backquote. This automatically adds the object to the Timeflow view and adds the Timeflow and spine animator components. Let's collapse everything except Spine Animator so we can focus on its settings. Here you can tweak options like time scale, affecting animation speed, and flipping horizontally and vertically. The default animation track, track 0, is already set up, which is the base layer for our animation. In Timeflow, click the diamond icon to set a keyframe or use the shortcut K. Let's expand the values column so we can see what's happening. Use the drop-down menu to choose an animation, which updates the keyframe at the current time. Spine animations have a duration shown as a shaded area following the keyframe. Hit spacebar to preview it. We can enable the work area and looping to keep things focused. Set the end of the work area to around 3 seconds so we can loop and tweak animations more easily. Let's set the initial keyframe to idle and enable looping. Then at 1 second, we can add another keyframe, selecting the walk animation. As we can see, the change from idle to walk is rather abrupt, So to create a smoother transition, select the walk keyframe and set a mix duration. This blends the animations over time. The transition appears in Timeflow as a shaded ramp. Unfortunately, we'll need to enter play mode to see the final blended transition, as this is a requirement of Spine. Before doing that, click the Axon Genesis logo and check the Timeflow settings. Make sure the work area stays enabled on start so it doesn't reset. Now hit play and see the transition in action. One important thing to remember is that any changes made in play mode are not saved. Therefore, if you make any tweaks here, you'll need to make notes of it and then reapply those changes in edit mode. We can now exit play mode and go over using tracks to create layered animations. Right-click on the spine track and select Add Spine Track. This adds a new animation layer processed from bottom to top. Drag tracks up or down to reorder them, and press Enter to rename them. One tip is that each track overwrites the lower tracks, so choose animations that work together. For example, our bass track can have full body animations such as idle and walk, while the second track we can add an animation such as aim. We can then add another track and add a keyframe to shoot. We now have a walking, aiming, and shooting character. A few other helpful tips: you can copy and paste keyframes across tracks. Keyframes can be toggled on and off by pressing 0. And you can also disable whole channels to isolate and work on specific animation layers. If you have multiple spine objects using the same animations, you can also link channels between them for synchronized movement. That wraps up this tutorial and covers the basics of using spine animation in Timeflow. If you need more details, please check out the Timeflow documentation on spine. And if this video is helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more tutorials.